Turkey and Russia have agreed a ceasefire from midnight local time in Syria's northwestern Idlib province in a bid to avoid a major escalation.
In Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan also agreed to establish a security corridor and joint patrols.
Last month, 36 Turkish soldiers were killed in Idlib during a Russian-backed Syrian government offensive.
Turkey, which backs opposition rebels, responded by attacking Syrian troops.
The incident sparked fears of a direct military conflict between Turkey and Russia.
The agreement was announced after about 6 hours of talks between Mr. Putin and Mr. Erdogan in the Russian capital.
The two sides said the deal included.
Despite the agreed ceasefire, Turkey reserves the right to retaliate with all its strength against any attack by forces of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, Mr. Erdogan warned.
Meanwhile, President Putin said he hoped the deal will serve as a good foundation for ending the fighting in the Idlib de-escalation zone, will end the suffering of the civilian population.
The BBC's diplomatic correspondent Jonathan Marcus says fundamental questions remain, including how long the truce will last, whether Syrian government forces or Turkish troops will pull back to designated zones, and what will be the fate of the huge number of refugees.
In short, our correspondent says it is unclear whether the Assad regime and its Russian backers have given up on the idea of seizing back all of Idlib, and whether this is a permanent policy shift or just a temporary expedient to reduce the current tensions with Ankara.
In 2018, Russia and Turkey agreed a ceasefire and de-escalation zones in Idlib, but that deal has often been violated.
Idlib is the last rebel-held province in Syria.
Russia and Turkey have diametrically opposed objectives in Syria. A confrontation was bound to happen. It will remain a built-in risk if their strategies stay the same.
Russia intervened when the Assad regime was fighting for survival and has provided the firepower to make possible the recapture of most of rebel-held Syria.
For President Putin, the Syrian war has been a vital part of re-establishing Russia as a power in the Middle East and beyond.
Turkey has been the most consistent backer of militias fighting the Assad regime.
President Erdogan sees Idlib province as a legitimate security interest and wants Turkey to be the strongest regional power.
Presidents Putin and Erdogan have proved that they can talk.
With Iran, they backed an attempted peace process in Syria. Russia sold Turkey a sophisticated air defense system. A ceasefire more or less held in Idlib until Syria, Russia and their allies went back onto the offensive during the winter.
But fighting close to the Turkish border, affecting interests that both sides consider vital, has resulted in a key member of NATO squaring up to Russia. That is a dangerous development.